We're good? I didn't hear the countdown. We're good? Just stand quietly for 15 minutes. Hey, good morning. Welcome to Wednesday, another opportunity to kick off a month with a new topic. This one in May is a enjoyable one just to repeat and talk about in different ways with Mental Health Awareness Month in May. And so I was looking forward to talking this week about some basics, just some core about like why awareness is important. We'll talk through some other either strategies or resources in the middle of the month, and then finish the month talking about actually the practical steps of how to get help when hopefully I've convinced you that mental health is worth doing more, and then you want to be able to access some things. So talking about the email on Monday, I appreciate those who reached out. Sometimes there's just a random glitch where something, despite being scheduled, doesn't kick on the way it should. And so addressing it, and I'll try and stay on top of that better to make sure, since I emailed myself already to make sure it's going out on time, but I can do some other double checks. So the material is good that's out there. It was fun to write. There were kind of three main points that echo this part about awareness. And first was simply that as much as everyone's dedicated to their physical health, whether it's here on your own or the way you take care of nutrition or anything else, I really want mental health to be as strong as possible. So is this idea of encouraging everybody to spend at least 50% of the time you spend working on your physical health, please do it on your mental health. And through the past many weeks and months in your tenure here, you've probably heard lots of different ways to be able to do that. And it's just this idea of accumulate those and make sure it's not being forgotten about, that I want it to be a consistent priority. Second, trying to share a really key part about what I think is at the center of mental health. And it's this phrase, know why you do the things you do. I think at the core of mental health, if you can answer that question for yourself, you have a way to identify how you're doing, and you have a direction to be able to go if something isn't just right. So know why you do the things you do, I would suggest, is at the core of mental health. Because if you can answer that question, you probably have an awareness about yourself and some strategies about how to amend things, some strengths or weaknesses, and be able to move forward. And finally, because I know a lot of people here are caring about others and themselves, want to be connected with community, I think that when you're aware of your mental health and you're working on it well, you have better care and compassion for those around you. And you have a better chance to connect with people around you, which is extremely important. And if you don't have good mental health awareness, then those abilities to care for others are weakened or less, or they're just not as efficient or the quality you want to have. So it's something to pay attention to. And even trying to really reinforce this with some encouragement with the exercises this week. First was simply to add up the time that you spend on your mental health, just to make sure. Again, whether it's some of our favorite words around here, margin, rest, those type of things, or if you're reading about something, if you're talking to someone, you've gotten together with them and shared a meal or a quality time or been to counseling, whatever it might be, add up and see if you can hit that 50% mark based upon, some of you are here 6 days a week, and so you've got 6 hours at least you're working on your physical health, but can you spend at least 3 hours on your mental health each week as well? So it's a specific objective challenge, but also there are some assessments on my counseling clinic's website to measure stress, anxiety, and depression. And I shared the link in the email where you can be able to take those. And if you have a question about how I'm doing, or you want to send those to somebody else, you have a way to get some objective feedback too about what specifically is going on in those two areas with anxiety, depression, and yes, even stress, and get some feedback for you that way so you know more and more aware about how you're doing specifically. So shifting a little bit to some facts about psychology, because I thought that would be a helpful part just to talk about where it goes through. True, I believe that psychology is probably the newest of the sciences in comparison to physical science and medical science and how it's gone on. So just for sharing a little bit of a timeline here. And this is about the field of psychology, not necessarily counseling. In my field, it's even newer than some of this stuff and how it goes forward. But shared a website that did a nice kind of overview. Here's some highlights from it. Psychology began as a separate scientific discipline in 1879 when William Went opened his psychology lab. He laid the foundation for separating psychology from philosophy and physiology, because before it was all kind of one, just kind of discussion point. And about the same time, mid to late 1800s, William James emerged as one of the first major American psychologists, created a textbook, The Principles of Psychology. And so it's just kind of in this idea of not too long ago, of where people were really starting to establish this field as distinct. The first kind of main focus that psychology had was functionalism, right? How do people actually respond to their environment? Just kind of began at that particular focus. People have heard of Sigmund Freud. He's kind of the first person who shifted psychology a little bit and started to focus on the unconscious mind and things like that. He's been through the ringer about things since that time to find out what some of his beliefs are and everything else. But that's the nature of the field of psychology, is that there are ebbs and flows in the field of what people study and what they think. Then came behaviorism, which is this focus a little bit different than the two before, and about observable behaviors. So if you think of your high school classes on psychology, start talking about Pavlov's dogs and things like that. They started to be able to focus on those things. But ultimately, this kind of third area of psychology shifted in the early 1900s to humanistic psychology. This idea of focusing on the conscious experience, start to move past Freud a little bit and into those other aspects. And then in the 1950s and 60s, a movement known as the cognitive revolution took hold in psychology and kind of started to really balloon this idea of understanding what people are thinking, how it impacts their feelings, how it impacts their actions, and counseling kind of comes out of that realm and accelerates in a good way. So in all reality, the mid-1800s, where this field really starts to become distinct and take off. So very, very young in comparison, which means there's a lot that has developed and probably a lot more that will come too. I don't think the field of psychology and even counseling has really set and found its groove even as it goes forward. Lots of other places to read. That was just one website to be able to talk about, but there's also ways to make yourself more aware of what's going on as you do some reading yourself. Brings us to a couple of questions this morning I was curious about. Thinking about mental health awareness and what I'm sharing to be aware of. But the first question is this one. What were the messages about mental health you heard about growing up? Mental Health Awareness Month was founded in 1949, so not too long ago in comparison. But that just means think about generational aspects. If my dad himself was born in 1945 and mental health just started coming around that time, it's not too long ago that generationally it was out there and something to be talked about and done. So the messages about mental health might be pretty diverse. And I was just curious to see what you guys thought of as you were growing up. What were the messages about mental health? Like maybe we don't talk about it, or dismissive of it, those kind of things. What do you remember about mental health throughout your life?
It was never discussed.
Never discussed.
Anything with health was never discussed.
Even, yeah, anything with any health, huh? Okay. Just kind of go through and grind away on your own. Any others? Be thinking about it, because maybe there's healthy comments about it. Maybe there are no comments about it. We certainly have talked through families, and sometimes they model through positive aspects, negative aspects, or just not at all. And each three have an impact of itself. The second question is, what is this message? What's the message you cling to now about mental health that helps you keep it a priority? What's something you think about now that helps you keep mental health a priority for you? Maybe your kids? Trying to be healthy for other people you care about. That's good. Any others? It's a part of what this month is about. You know, and finding your own phrase about where it's going. A tip to be able to think back on some of this. as I was preparing this month, look back at last year, May of 2025, in the archives on the website. That whole month was just a nice long list of a bunch of statements and phrases that I share in the counseling office and out, and some other things. So if you're wondering, what is it I should cling to? What are some things I should try and answer some questions with? That was a really good month. This is different how I'm going to focus this month, but that one has a lot of those ideas or suggestions or some phrases to have so you can strengthen your own awareness as you go through this month. So some final comments about why mental health awareness is crucial. I think if you are aware of your mental health and working on it, it will hopefully enable you to be successful in life. If you ignore it, it's kind of this ability to disable your options to be able to feel good. People who ignore their mental health struggle. They don't face things. It starts this slow avalanche downhill, and it's hard to turn it around. So when you focus on mental health, it seems to open doors for more success. If you ignore that mental health or you're struggling with it, it feels like those doors are closing for the things you want to achieve. Second, I'm echoing it again here, that if you can work out and work on your mental health as similar as you can to your physical health, I think you will see a proportional improvement in how you feel, how you respond, what you know about yourself, and the successes you want to be able to have moving forward. And ultimately, as we begin Mental Health Awareness Month, I certainly want to echo that if you give time for your brain and for your body and for your heart to rest, it's going to complement everything else you're going to try and do throughout life. Time for your brain, body, and heart to rest. So it means stepping away from stressors, stepping out of a routine, actually getting some chance to sit down and do nothing during the day, or getting adequate sleep at night. Mental health, I would say, is proportional to the amount of rest we get. Without that, we stay vigilant, and then we move into hypervigilance, and that just has our body cranking through things, and it's never a chance to take a breath and feel okay. And without that ability to pause, it's hard for mental health to recover. So give that some thought as you go forward. So just kicking it off this month, making a case for why mental health awareness is important. The benefit of the doubt everybody gets is you want your mental health to be good. And if you're struggling with how to initiate that, or what are the purposes or reasons, then this month's going to be able to help you find a way to enact it and initiate it and feel better. So be thinking about all of these things. 50% of your time of what you spend physically either working out or focusing on your physical health, can you reach 50% of that for your mental health this week and keep track of it? And if you are wondering, what's my stress level at? Or I'm wondering, what's the degree of discouragement or disappointment or depression I might have, or somebody you care about, there's a link in the email where you can send that and take it yourself or give it to somebody else. So you'll know about depression and anxiety as well. It's certainly a key part of Mental Health Awareness Month to help people know objectively how they're doing. So a great time to kick it off. I'll look forward to these next Wednesdays and continue to raise it up. And if you guys come across any material or other things that are happening around us, please send it to me. And so we can, I can either integrate it into what I'm talking about, or we can let it be known through the group as well. Thank you. Have a good workout.